Hi guys, welcome to our tutorial on creating an index in Microsoft Word. An index is very similar to a table of contents in the respect that yes, it allows users or points users in the right direction as to where to locate specific information within the document. It's different in the sense though is that it's an alphabetical listing, and it also is normally a listing of marked entries of usually things that are not included in the main table of contents. Remembering, of course, that a table of contents would typically be used for a list of primary headings within the document. So just having clarified that, let's look to get started, and we're going to show you how to build yourself an index. So basically the way you go about building an index for a document is to take a bit of content within that document and simply mark the particular entries for that content. Now, just as a heads up, what we have already done, just so that when we do finally build this table of contents towards the end of this exercise, is we've already marked a few entries within this document. And I'll demonstrate this just by showing you that on the Home tab on the Show Hide Characters symbol, paragraph mark symbols, when we turn that on, basically you'll notice throughout the document here there's already a couple of index entries that have already been marked. I'm just going to briefly turn off the Show Hide Characters button. Now, to start off, what we'll look to do is we're going to start off by, let's say we were to click at a particular point within a paragraph. And what we'll do is we navigate up to the References tab, and in the Index section you see the option to Mark Entry. So we're going to start off by clicking the Mark Entry button. So notice that the first option is Main Entry, and we're going to just mark this as Contractors. And what we'll do in this particular instance is we'll go that it is JKMRC. Now the index entry in the actual index itself will reference the current page. So what we'll look to do is we'll look to mark this entry at this point. So clicking Close to the Mark Index Entry dialog box, which incidentally we could keep open, but for the moment we'll click Close. So you'll notice how that inserts that index entry within the document. So let's say further down the page, or further down in the document, in this case the next page. What we'll look to do is we'll look to simply quickly highlight that bit of text over here. Now instead of going to References and Mark Entry, you can simply get to the same dialog box by going Alt-Shift-X, which would take us to this dialog box here. Now all I'm doing is I'm pressing Control-X and I'm cutting that main entry, and I'm going to reference the word Contractors again as the main entry, and for the sub entry we're going to put the same lettering JKMRC yet again, and again the reference will be to the current page, and we'll click Mark. Now in an instance here you notice how we've done the same thing twice. So what we could look to do is if there's a certain phrase or word that occurs throughout the document and you want to mark all instances of that within the document, simply locating that content within the document, if we were to select that, and what we'll do is we're going to go straight back and click directly on the Mark Index Entry box, and we'll just, for this instance, just create a main entry. Now we could do an entrance to a reference to the current page, but what we'll do at the same time is we're going to click the option of Mark All. So if there were multiple instances of that particular phrase within the document, it would mark all of those, and those would all be referenced within the document. So what we'll now look to do is let's basically go down a little bit further on this page. We've got some lettering JKMRC again. Now clicking back within the main entry, what we could do here is, let's say for the main entry we were going to go JKMRC, and you'll notice over here we'll see a cross-reference. So if we did say cross-reference, we could say C Contractors and then click Mark. Now what we'll look to do is just a little bit further down is clicking Close the dialog box for the moment. What we could do is, you'll notice how we've got a reference to the word Amira at this point. Now this does occur at multiple points in the document, but what we might look to do is you can actually directly edit those index entries directly over here. So if we were to go Contractors and colon Amira, what we could look to do is to take this field, because it is actually a field, and you could select that, you could copy it, and if you wanted to, you could manually look to replace and reinsert that at multiple points within the document. So let's say for whatever reason we wanted another reference at this point over here. Right, so having basically created a couple of index entries throughout the document, let's actually just make one more. Let's select this bit of text over here that says Australian Stock Exchange, and remembering the shortcut key, Alt-Shift-X, notice the main entry. So what we'll look to is we'll just simply leave that as a main entry, and we will click Mark All. So if that does occur more than once, it'll be referenced multiple times. So over here we've got the words ASX, selecting that, main entry ASX, cross-reference C, Australian Stock Exchange, and so on, and then click Mark. Now clean close. Now, simply navigating to the end of the document, this is where we're now going to look to basically create our little index. So to do this, it's very simple. On the References tab, simply click the Insert Index button. Now, there are various styles and formats that you can have for your index. You could have multiple column layouts. We're going to go for one column layout here. You can go for run-in, you can go for indented, and you can choose whether or not you right align the page numbers. Now notice by default here the formatting will be applied from the template, but there are some other preset styles that you can apply. Right, so in this first instance we'll stick with the option of from template and we'll click OK. So notice what that has done is it's built a little index for us. Now, not too keen on the layout of this particular format, so I'm just pressing undo and we're going to insert index yet again. So once again what we'll do here is we'll stick with the option of indented. We'll go right align page numbers, and in this case perhaps for the formats we'll say classic, and then we'll click OK. And you notice again how that marks or lays out the index in a different fashion. Let's try a couple of other formats. Insert index, let's try run-in, one column, and we'll go for fancy and click OK. So various ways that you could actually present your index. So what we'll do, finalize on this one, we'll stick with the option of indented, we'll stick with one column or right align page numbers, we'll use tab leaders, and we'll stick to the format from the template, and then we'll click OK, and it gives us this particular layout. Now if you've chosen to lay the formatting or set up the formatting based on the actual template, what's going to happen is each of these levels within the index are controlled by various styles. So for example, if I was to click on this main entry of a mirror and press Shift F1, this brings up the revealed formatting palette. You'll notice that the paragraph style that's used to format level 1 for your index is called Index 1. So if we were to click on paragraph style of here and then click Modify, let's say we were going to change the font to, say, Arial, let's say size 12, let's say bolded, and let's say we clicked Format and we're in Paragraph, and let's apply some spacing between primary headings, and then we'll look to click OK, OK, and in this case close. You'll notice how that drastically changes the format of the table of contents, beg your pardon, of the index. So if we were to click on, say, this entry over here of a mirror, and you notice the paragraph style and use is Index 2, clicking Modify, adjusting the font, maybe perhaps adjusting the spacing, let's say 3 points before and after, but don't add spacing to paragraphs of the same style. Let's say we wanted that indented by a centimeter with no hanging indent, clicking OK, OK, and close. You'll notice how that again changes the format of your index. Now, let's say we were going to make one little amendment here. We'll add another little index reference very briefly. So we'll just do this by going back to the previous page. And let's say we were to select the words Mining Ombudsman and going to the Mark Entry, or remember, Alt-Shift-X, Mark Entry button, and we'll leave the main entry as Mining Ombudsman with a reference to the current page. And we'll click Mark. Clicking Close. Now, just like a table of contents, your index doesn't update automatically. It has to be manually updated. So if we were to right-click and choose Update Field, you'll notice the reference to Mining Ombudsman. Right, guys, so hopefully that was enough information to get you started. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video, got something out of it, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks very much for your time. Cheers for now. Bye.